In this version of Alien Intervention, the aliens are not enslaving humanity physically, but are instead searching for the location of the human soul. The hero of the story tries to resist the invasion of his inner world, but accidentally ends up flying into outer space. There, he discovers the shocking truth that the Earth is a laboratory of the gods and is flat. A man looks at his watch in a night city, while another man wakes up in a bathroom, with no memory of who he is, where he is, or how he got there. However, he finds clothes and a suitcase filled with his belongings. He walks out of the bathroom and accidentally catches a goldfish in an aquarium, which he releases into the bathtub. Upon opening the suitcase, the man finds a postcard with the words "Shell Beach" on it, triggering some memories. Suddenly, the phone rings, and the man with the watch informs him that his memory has been erased and experiments have been conducted on him. He warns the man to run urgently because they are after him. At this moment, the man notices a dead woman's body covered in bloody drawings. The man rushes out of his room and heads for the stairs as a sinister-looking trio emerges from the elevator and approaches him. The clock strikes 12 as he reaches the hotel lobby, where he is surprised to see that all the people around him are asleep. However, they soon wake up, and the boarder calls him by the name Murdoch. The boarder informs him that he left his wallet in the machine and claims that he has been staying at the hotel for 3 weeks. On his way out to the boardwalk, the man encounters the pale men dressed in black after dumping his suitcase while the water goes up to his room. They show him an unusual syringe and ask him questions about Murdoch before putting him to sleep in one fell swoop. Meanwhile, Murdoch's wife, Emma, performs on stage at a club. Afterward, she receives an invitation from a certain Dr. Schraver, who informed her that he is a psychiatrist treating her husband for a mental disorder caused by her infidelity. Emma claims that she has not seen her husband in 3 weeks. The doctor asks her to treat her husband more kindly as he may now be suffering from hallucinations and violence. He advises her to call him if she meets John. Inspector Frank Bumstead's musical exercises on the accordion are interrupted by a phone call in his house. He rushes to the hotel where the 6th call girl murder has taken place, and they have the suspect's name, D. Murdoch. Upon reaching the crime scene, the inspector hears the news that Detective Walensky has lost his mind. While wandering around town, John remembers he has to pick up a wallet from a vending machine and enters a diner where he finds a call girl smoking. He struggles to open the glass door to retrieve his wallet when 2 policemen enter the diner. The call girl comes to John's rescue and takes him away, advising the police to look for the killer. Inspector Bumstead is baffled by the rescue of a fish in the crime scene room and wonders if a cold-blooded killer would do that. Detective Walensky runs into the room, screaming that someone is watching them, and is taken away. Bumstead and his assistant find evidence in Walensky's office, and Emma, a missing person's wife, enters the scene, hearing Bumstead's name. The inspector informs her that John is suspected of the murders, but she doesn't believe it. After examining the documents in his wallet, John sees a little girl in the next room and leaves. He finds himself under a billboard of Shell Beach and clippings of the murder details in his pocket. A man in black orders him to sleep, but John doesn't respond. The man pulls out a knife, but John breaks the floor beneath him with his gaze. John tombs up and defeats the other men. John manages to grab hold of the ropes and destroys another enemy before fleeing. The action shifts to a dark hole with panicked aliens who insist on catching John to know his capabilities. Emma finds John in the apartment, but he doesn't recognize her or remember the doctor's betrayal. A messenger from the men in black informs the doctor of John's skills, and Emma informs him that the police are looking for him. Bumstead bursts into the apartment, but John runs away, losing the doctor's business card. He gets into a cab and asks for a ride to Shell Beach, but the driver doesn't remember how to get there. Meanwhile, John manages to track down the doctor, while Bumstead visits Walensky, who draws spirals on surfaces and reveals that his life is a hoax. John follows Dr. Schreiber to a door that appears out of nowhere and disappears again. In the dungeon, workers sift through personal belongings, and the doctor gives John a flask of smells that awaken memories of his unhappy childhood, teenage rebellion, and tragic family death. The governor interrupts the doctor and asks why John doesn't fall asleep during tuning like everyone else, as it takes multiple lifetimes to gain their abilities. As the moment of attunement arrives, everyone in town passes out except John, who frantically tries to wake someone up to no avail. A massive tuning machine comes into action, and the city changes before John's eyes. The doctor appears again, and motionless bodies are carried away to different places, where the doctor injects them in the forehead. The aliens turn a slum house into a luxurious mansion and turn a couple of laborers into a rich family. John confronts the doctor and tries to force a confession out of him, but the doctor throws him several feet away. The doctor reveals that John has alien powers and can change reality through the power of his will. He agrees to teach John how to manipulate this power to get his city back, but John escapes through a new door as the man in black appears in front of the doctor. The city continues on its usual routine, unfazed by the adjustment that has just taken place. The governor receives news that Murdoch has interfered with the tune-up, indicating that he is more powerful than they originally thought. In order to apprehend him, one person undergoes a procedure to obtain all of Murdoch's manufactured memories, while John reviews the information on the card once more. Suddenly, John recalls the name Carl Harris and locates his address in a telephone book and a newspaper. Clark, whom John recognizes as Porter, advises him to take the subway to Carl's location. The men in black suddenly enter the call girl's house, where Murdoch was last seen on the subway. John examines the traffic pattern and heads in the direction of Shell Beach. The men in black are unsuccessful in obtaining information from the girl, so one of them remains behind to complete the task. John is told to take the express train, but it passes by the station without stopping. In shock, John is approached by Lenski, who informs him that there is no way to leave the city. He explains that people's memories can be implanted until they are no longer aware of their true identity, with the exception of a few individuals who are resistant to the procedure. Murdoch and John are among them, and the only way to escape is through a specific means. After uttering these words, the man throws himself in front of a train, while the men in black locate Emma, who is in possession of the device containing John's memories. She discovers a new mutilated body at the home of the available girl, leading to a moment of panic, which is interrupted by Bumstead, who has been following her. Meanwhile, John encounters a man who claims to be his uncle Carl and shows him old slides featuring Murdoch as a child. The photographs were taken at Shell Beach during daylight hours, but John cannot figure out how to reach the location. His uncle cannot recall the way either, but John notices a scar in the pictures caused by the fire that killed his parents. However, Murdoch himself does not possess the same scar, indicating that the story has been fabricated. As Bumstead seeks professional help, Emma discovers the daughter of the deceased, who is hiding beneath a table and witnessed the true events that occurred in the room. Later, she notices a beautiful accordion in the inspector's car, which he claims was a gift from his late mother. However, he is unable to recall how he obtained it, raising further questions. John attempts to determine the time of day, perplexed as to why it is always dark. He retrieves his sketchbook, which his uncle claims he consistently used to draw in, but it is blank, leading to additional confusion. As Uncle Carl contacts Emma during tune-up time, she and Bumstead rush to his location, while John departs. However, when the clock strikes 12, everyone except John loses consciousness. Meanwhile, Murdoch spots the aliens outside and tries to flee. The surrounding houses transform as John struggles to reach the rooftop, where he encounters one of the extraterrestrials. John seizes the alien, who admits that their city is based on stolen memories, as they seek to become human but lack the knowledge of how to do so. Every night they manipulate individuals' memories in an attempt to understand what makes humans human. Everything had been proceeding smoothly until Murdoch began affecting the world in a similar manner to them. Subsequently, the alien breaks free and throws John aside. John plummets to the ground, but manages to grasp the railing of a staircase. However, the buildings continue to shift around him. John scrambles through the nearest window, and his pursuer collides with a wall. Nevertheless, an alien child brandishing a knife pursues him. John escapes through a doorway and finds himself outside the house, hanging precariously above the street. The adversary sinks their teeth into his arm, but a pipe suddenly grows nearby, which Murdoch uses to ascend to the roof. As the tune-up concludes, the city comes to life, but John finds himself surrounded by the aliens. The inspector's car then collects him, and he is transported to a prison. John endeavors to convince Bumstead that the woman was alive when he left and is astonished to observe drawings of fish and sea in his sketchbook. John inquires about Shell Beach, but Bumstead is unable to recall how to get there or when he last saw the sun. John levitates the sketchbook using his mind, prompting further bewilderment. Later, Emma arrives for a date and apologizes once again for her infidelity. However, her husband insists that none of it ever occurred. Emma acknowledges that at times she feels as though she does not know him at all, yet she loves him nonetheless. John employs his telekinetic abilities to shatter the glass between them and kisses the woman. At the prison, the aliens arrive and put everyone to sleep, but Murdoch is missing from his cell. Bumstead frees him, and they consult with the doctor, who reveals that they are all subjects of an experiment. He offers John an injection that will reveal the truth. However, the inspector intervenes and proposes a trip to the ocean, where they discover water splashing where a bridge used to be. Meanwhile, the aliens manipulate Emma's memories. As the men navigate a boat, Schreiber recounts the tale of the strangers who arrived in the darkness, kidnapped people, and subjected them to experiments that altered their memories, families, friends, and personalities. The aliens observe the results, hoping to learn about the soul by comprehending how memory functions. Their memories and minds are collective, and they believe that their race will be saved if they grasp this knowledge. However, John resists, indicating that he can withstand their machine that manipulates the world with thought. Trevor retains his skills as a scientist because he is a useful tool, but the remainder of his personality has been erased. He cannot remember where the people were taken from. Eventually, the trio arrives at Shell Beach, only to find a wall surrounding the town. Murdoch and Bumstead break through the wall, revealing space beyond. The aliens hail the stunned man, now aware of the truth. During a fight, the inspector and an alien plummet through the opening, revealing that the town is situated on a flat platform flying through outer space. John is prepared to fight but surrenders when he sees Emma in the enemy's grasp. He obeys their commands, falls asleep, and wakes up surrounded by aliens who demand to kill him. However, the aliens' leader urges them to merge their minds with his, believing that this may help them become human. The doctor intervenes and injects his own memories instead of the collective memory, revealing the whole truth about the strangers. John recalls everything and emerges victorious, capable of handling the alien machine. The aliens scatter in terror at the sight of him. The ruler enters the fray, and the battle rages on. The city begins to burn as the opponents take to the air, continuing the fight. The alien throws a dagger at John, which nearly hits its target, but Murdoch mentally redirects it to strike the ruler instead. The apocalypse concludes, and the doctor congratulates John on his triumph. He now controls the machine. Emma is no longer her true self as her memory has been altered, and the lab has been destroyed. However, John has the opportunity to create his own world, which he does. He adds water and points the flying disc toward the sun. Anna awakens in the checkout room, dresses, and boards a bus to Shell Beach. John discovers an alien who has taken his memory, Dead Eyes, and wants to experience feeling. However, he regrets his decision. They were looking in the wrong place. The sun rises over the city, and Murdoch opens a door, revealing the ocean and a girl on the pier named Anna, who possesses entirely different memories. They travel to Shell Beach together. Overall, the film is intriguing, mysterious, and dark, with a compelling concept and execution. Despite being over 2 decades old, it holds up well and remains comparable to contemporary films. I hope you're enjoying the content that I'm creating. If you like what you're seeing, please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to tell me what I should fix or improve on in the future. Your feedback is greatly appreciated, and it helps me create better content for you. Thanks for your support.